All right, everybody, you know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up right now. Bam, welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host. Let me adjust my camera. There we go. Okay, there we are right there. Yeah. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to this broadcast today. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast to you live on multiple portals on YouTube, on Facebook, Twitter TV, and on Twitch. We appreciate all those of you who tune in to join us here. Remember, follow the show at Real Talk Sports, the number 7, as you can see right there on your screen. You can follow me personally at Minister J Sim, as well as Minister, the letter J SIMM. And remember, if you have a great sports story, or if you think you should be on the air, you can go ahead and give us a call, 678-410-9833, or hit us up with an email at jsimmons@realtalksports.net. Well, guys, anytime we do this sports show, we bring on one of the most beautiful women in sports talk, radio, or TV. The one and only Queen Tree Dolman is back in the building. Tree, welcome back.
Hi, Jonathan. Hi, everybody.
What's up? Well, as always, there's always something going on in the world of sports. And just before we went on the air, we got some breaking news, which I think we all kind of knew was going to happen. Yeah, evidently, I got a text from Mr. Tyrone Poole, and I checked online. The head coach from the Atlanta Hawks is no longer in his job. They have asked Nate to
What?
leave. Yes, breaking news. That's why I said breaking. Dun, 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 dun. Nate gone. No
What?
thanks. That's what I'm saying, boys. Nate has
They
left the
fired
building.
Coach Nate?
Yeah, and if Todd was here, I'd have to do this. I have to put on my special
Oh,
Terminator shades because he has been
oh
terminated.
my goodness. I am really shocked.
Yep,
Well, I
Nate
guess
gone.
I'm not really shocked, but I'm shocked.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Nate has left the building. Yeah, he's gone. I mean, I think everybody knew it was coming sooner rather than later. Uh, he himself allegedly has voiced concerns that he was going to resign. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. All I know is that
He said he
it
did.
is a fact that yeah, well, they questioned him about that. He said that he didn't want to speak on that one way or the other. He said, "Hey, look, I'll address whatever concerns I may have, yay or nay, at the end of the season." But yeah, it was rumored that after the blow up between him and Trey, and the team wasn't playing too well, he was going to quote unquote fall on his sword and say, "Look, man, I don't want the team to go in the tank. I'll leave." And I guess the Hawks feel the same way.
Yeah, I
Yeah, Nate
figured that
is
it's because of the thing that happened with Trey.
oh yeah, I mean, listen, you can't, I mean, at the end of the day, you know how professional sports works. I mean, they're paying these players a lot of money. And so if it gets down between the player and the coach, gotta go, we all know it's gonna happen. Unless
Well,
you
not the player, but the star franchise player makes a
that
difference.
too. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you're not talking about, Joe Blow. You're talking about the guy that they invested, a huge amount of dollars. Not only that, address huge draft capital. So anyway, yeah, that's the word on the street that Nate be gone. So and we're gonna do this here for a second. We're gonna invite some Hawks fans on here. So we're gonna go to their page and post on there and see what their sensibilities might be. So bear with me if you guys see me kind of looking away. That's what's going on. I'm inviting them on Facebook to come on and join us here as we talk about the Atlanta Hawks, and also want to talk about the NBA as well. So, if you guys want to join us, let me put this in the comments here. Let's put it here. What do you think about, I guess, Hawks coach being fired?
So who's the new coach?
The new coach is a guy that's on the team already now. Let me go to that, and we can check that out here. Let's go ahead and just put that question on social media. What do you think about Hawks head coach being fired? Go ahead and pop that up here. We'll have it on the screen in just a minute, folks. Here we go. So you can answer and join in. You can tell me what you think. We'll copy that. And oh, something went haywire there. Let's go and undo that. Always when I'm trying to do this, the two things at one time, it always happens. Well, anyway, we hope to get the question on. You know what it is, guys. What do you think about Nate being fired? Coach Nate McMillan, if you haven't found out, breaking news, the head coach of Atlanta Hawks has been fired. And I'd like to see what you guys think about that, what your thoughts are. Good idea, bad idea. Who do you think is at fault? Do you think it's Trey's fault? Do you think it's just bad management? We'd like to hear from you. So again, hit us up. What do you think about Nate being fired? Do you like the idea? Do you think it stinks? Do you think it's, whose fault do you think it is? We'd like to hear your opinion on here. And you guys, like I said, you don't see it on the screen, but you can hear me. So go ahead and put your comments in on social media so we can report back to you. Again, we'd love to have your input on that. While we're waiting, I'm going to ask another question. What did you think about the NBA All-Star Weekend or the game itself? Did you watch it? What were your thoughts about overall the weekend? Let's get the overall picture first. What do you think about the weekend? NBA All-Star Weekend. Your thoughts?
I saw the Celebrity All-Star game. I did not watch the All-Star game. I was planning on it. I saw the draft, and I was getting back in from out of town, and I didn't see tip-off. I woke up the next morning and saw that Giannis won. So I did not see the game, even though I wanted to. Did not see the shootouts and the three-point contest and the slam dunk contest because I was out enjoying myself, having a great time in the great state of Florida. So no, I did not see it.
I don't say you're in the great state of Florida. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm sure you enjoyed yourself there. I enjoy myself every time I go down to Florida. I'm looking forward to find any excuse to get back to the wonderful city of Miami. That's
The
what
wonderful
I'm looking
state.
for. Return visits. Yeah, Miami. I mean, let me not even say Miami. Just Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood Beach, anywhere down that area. Yeah, the minister would be fine and dandy. I would just go ahead and pop my shades on and like this. And two, now I'm not gonna do upside down. There we go. I'd be chilling because, like I said, I enjoyed the beaches there. It was a great time there. Okay, so before we get back to Hawks question, okay, what do you guys think about the All-Star game? Do you think the All-Star game was the worst ever? Because that's what a lot of people were saying. The final score tree was an unbelievable 184 to 175.
Yes, I saw that.
Right. I mean, so that broke every kind of scoring record. There was absolutely no defense being played at all. Nobody was trying to stop anybody. And so I don't know, guys, what do you think? Was that the worst All-Star game you've ever seen? Love to hear your comments there on social media. Please hit us up and let me know what you think about that. Because, yeah, I mean, listen, the game itself was bad. I mean, and the sad thing is when they interviewed the head coach, I think it was Giannis's team, he said it was the worst basketball game he had ever seen. That's a coach. And this is a guy that coached high school. This is a coach that coached college basketball. And he said, worst he ever seen. He said, I understand that the fans need to be entertained, but that was just bad basketball. I mean, no defense at all. Everybody looked very lackluster. And I guess for me, because I'm a little older, especially when they show clips of some of the great All-Star games, like they showed one, I think it was from 2004, maybe 2003, and it came down to the wire. Kobe, AI going back and forth, and I mean, drenched with sweat like a regular game, and in the final score, I think it was like 110 to 107. It was like these guys played for real, for real. It was like the first half they messed around and said, okay, we got to entertain the fans. But the second half, back then, especially when it was East versus West, guys look like they were trying to win. Now guys look like, hey man, we're just out here just we got our kids out here, have a little good time, and that's really it. So I don't know. What would you like to see done to improve the game, Tree? After watching the last couple of years, I'm not talking about this game, but I mean over the last couple of years, which really kind of went deteriorated. What would you suggest to the NBA to say, look, if you guys did this, I think the All-Star game would be a lot better?
I don't think they should do anything. The point is that this is the All-Star game. It's for fun and entertainment. So the NBA keeps making all these changes to the schedule. The players are not happy that they're playing back-to-back games. They're not happy about the schedule. Their bodies need rest. So as long as the fans are there having a good time and it's selling out, which I'm sure that it did, like it always does, there's no need to change anything. The whole point is to come out and have a good time, have fun, and they're playing for charity. So each quarter, they are raising money for different charities, whatever team wins that quarter. So that's what it's about. It's just a fun time to raise money for charity. And then you get to acknowledge all of these great NBA players in the process of doing so. So yes, the game has gone away from being super competitive where they're actually playing. That's because these players don't want to get hurt. And that's fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. You want to see competitive basketball? Then watch the NBA games. Watch the finals. That's where you see them compete and play defense and make stops. But I get it. This is just a fun time for the fans. And again, to acknowledge great basketball. So no, I don't see where a change needs to be made. That's just my opinion with it. But, that's just what I feel.
Well, I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. I understand that, certainly obviously the charity part, we're definitely for that. That's a huge, big key. You want to find any reason you can to get back at all times. And I'm not looking for these guys to go out here and play like it's a playoff game. I'm just saying like just a little bit of defense and, a little bit of, kind of passing the ball like a normal game. I mean, almost like a pickup game. And always, and I guess maybe because it's the huge amounts of money, maybe that's what it is, because the money is just so insane now that, obviously if somebody gets hurt, I mean, players are signing for, guys are signing for $250 million contracts, playing making $50-60 million a year. So I guess that's what it is. But, I guess I'm from a different era. There seemed to be a little bit more energy, there seemed to be a little bit more pride. I think the whole thing about not having the East versus West, it just, to me, is just messed up. And as far as the players not, not getting the proper rest, now I blame the NBA for that. They should set the schedule up to eliminate the number of back-to-backs, to eliminate all this nonsense about what you call load management, all that stuff. They should find a way to make the schedules normal. Because I cannot believe that with all these technology, as you mentioned today, with math, they can't find a way to have a schedule that eliminates the nonsense they have. Like you said, back-to-back games, the same teams playing sometimes 3 times in a month and a half, and they don't play again for another 3 or 4 months. I mean, it's just, that's a problem. But I do think they should bring some of the competition. Again, you don't have to go full out like a playoff game. But I think the entertainment is even some of the competition between the opposing teams. I mean, I even watched a clip when Shaq was going up against Dwight Howard. And again, it wasn't super competitive move, but they were out on the edge, and Shaq did a move. We dribbled the ball between Dwight's legs. The ball was tapped back to him on a beautiful pass and a dunk. I just want to see more stuff like that. I'm not trying to see the guys go out here and just play like, let's say, a regular season game, but just some stuff that looks more like regular basketball. That's what I'd like to see. So if it was me, I don't care what you got to do, change the schedule, get away from some of the back-to-backs, but it's got to be a situation where, like I said, again, the game is just a little bit more competitive. I think they should go back to the East and West. There's nonsense about, like we had in the game. You had Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum on 2 different teams. I don't want to see that.
I do miss the East versus the West. I definitely missed that. I thought that was dumb when they changed the East versus the West.
I mean, that's one of the fun parts, seeing the guys kind of go up against, because usually those teams, you only see them, the Western teams, the Eastern teams, you see them only once a year. So I'm like, hey, man, that's part of the competition, man. Hey, let's win it for the West. Let's win it for the East. So, to me, I'd like to see it. So before we flip off there, guys, that's our question right there. You guys need to keep it locked right here. We got to take a quick little station break. We'll be more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a moment. Okay, don't go anywhere, please. Thank you. Stay right here. We'll be back.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net.
All right, guys, we're back here on the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons, and right next to me is the lovely Queen, Miss Tree Dolman. I'm going to flip back to our Hawks for just a second. All right, Tree, Nate's gone, and let's see if I can pull up here who is replaced Mr. Nate. Let's get that up here and see if we can find out who did this in here. New Hawks head coach. Let's type that in, see if we can find out. But it is a guy that currently is an assistant for the Hawks. And I'll have his name in just a moment. And guys, we appreciate you tuning in to us and our program and our broadcast right here. And remember, guys, we are going to be doing a in-studio version of the Real Talk Sports Show on Saturdays at 10 a.m. We'll be back in the studio taking phone calls and so forth. Okay, so it looks like, I'll read it here from Google. So the Atlanta Hawks, after the All-Star break, will come with a new head coach. Head coach Nate McMillan has been fired by the Hawks. The team announced on Tuesday. Assistant Joe Prunty will take over as the Atlanta's interim head coach. So Joe Prunty is the new man in the box. Now, Prunty has done this before. He's been interim coach, I believe, also with the Bucks when he was on their staff. And let's go here and let's take a peek here. So it made sense from USA Today. It made sense that the change followed here. So the team on Tuesday again fired head coach Nate McMillan. This from USA Today. It says, though there are just 23 games remaining for the Hawks, the team executives believe it's time to improve and rise in the standings. It said Atlanta is 29-30 in 8th place in the Eastern Conference. However, the Hawks are just only 3.5 games behind the 6th place New York Knicks. And said the Hawks just haven't had enough progress after reaching the conference finals in 2021. So they lost in the first round of last year's playoffs, and they want to try to see if they can find out how to make things happen. Now, here's something very interesting. You now have a former Hawk player, a guy who's one of the best three-point shooters in NBA history. Kyle Korver is now director of player affairs, and he will be assisting the GM. So look for Korver to have some input on the new coach and also help to see if they can get the Hawks improved in their three-point shooting, which has plummeted after being one of the better three-point shooters last year. So I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, some of this stuff Nate brought on himself. I think that his reluctance to find some way to play up-tempo basketball, and he admitted of his own mouth that he had found it difficult over the years to deal with the modern-day player. So, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they can bring somebody in here that can harness what the Hawks have. I think they still have a pretty good team. They have a good nucleus of players, and these young players they got, with like AJ and some of the other guys, they have some potential there to, really be a good team. So, bottom line,
Well, they
I
are
don't
a
know.
good team. So it's not that they're not a good team. They are a good team. They just aren't winning like they should.
Yeah, I mean, that's really it. And, they got 23 games. If they can go, I said it before, if they can win 2 out of every 3, which means they'd have to go something like 16-7, I think they could, in fact, catch the Knicks and get themselves in that 6th spot and avoid a play-in game. And, they could catch a flyer again like they did in 2021. They could get hot and, find themselves rolling to at least a first-round playoff win. And after that, it's a crapshoot. So, I don't know. I don't know. Who would you like to see as a head coach here? I mean, do you have any? I don't have anybody at the top of my head that I can think of. Anybody you
They
think
need to bring
bring
in a legend.
a legend? Okay.
Yes. I would love to see Boston's former coach, but they probably won't bring him here.
Yeah, he got a little baggage right now, unfortunately. But you never know.
What baggage does he have?
You talking about the coach from that they just fired from Boston or whatever? You're talking about the coach
Yeah,
from last year's Boston team?
yeah,
Well, the guy, the reason why I let him go is because it wasn't because, he just stopped coaching well. He had a situation, the guy had an affair with an employee of the Celtics.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I'm
again,
saying that,
uh-huh.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that is a little baggage. I mean, me
That's
personally, I'm
baggage.
like, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I mean, me personally, I mean, if the guy, I mean, if everybody's okay, Hawks okay, the guy can coach. We do know that. And so, I guess your personal affairs, are your personal affairs. I think the reason why the Celtics let him go was because they have some type of personal conduct clause in the contract, and that's why. But the NBA didn't say anything. It was the Celtics.
Well, so I'll tell you what I've heard. Is it true or is it not true? I don't know.
Okay.
So first is he's not married. He's not a married man. What he did was wrong. We all agree with that, right? But players will tell you that this happens all of the time with head coaches and staff. This is nothing new. I hear that the reason that they blasted him about it is because of who he was sleeping with. It was somebody's high up's wife or something like that, which again, I don't condone. I do not condone it at all. At all. I'm just saying that they treated him a lot differently than they treat most people that this happens to. And they don't blast everybody else's business. They just say, oh, well, we're letting this person go for whatever reasons. But they had a press conference and they really spoke about what was going on with him to blast him. And you don't see that with other situations. And again, this happens all of the time. So if he was a married man, I think it would be a lot worse. He's not a married man, but he was messing with a married woman, which is still wrong. I do not condone it. It is not okay. I do not condone it. I'm not saying that it was right. It was completely wrong. What I'm saying is that you just see a difference in how he's being treated and other people are being treated. And I was told, don't know if it's true or not, but it was because of who he was having the affair with as to why he's getting this backlash, as opposed to if it was just somebody that he was having an affair with.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not what's the old saying? It's not what you know, or who you know. In many cases, who knows you. So, yeah,
That's
no
true.
doubt, you can you can have shenanigans with the wrong person, and I'm sure that's going to create a lot of problem. And it's my bad because originally where they spun this, and shame on me for not doing the due diligence, but the reason why they spun it, it was like this was Nia Long's husband. I mean, that's kind of was
Yeah, they
the way it
never got
was being
married.
sounded. I was well, and now that I know that, well, it's all bets are off then.
Yeah,
One
she
bet
and
is
I
wrong.
and to my understanding, she was the one that didn't want to get married. But they've been together for a
A
while,
minute.
but they're not
Yep.
married. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that goes on a lot too. So what you gonna do about that? Well, one thing we are gonna do is anytime we bring this show on, not only do we bring on a queen, we bring on a champion, not one but two-time Super Bowl champion. He is also a member of the Fort Valley State Sports Hall of Fame. The one and only number 38, Tyrone Poole is back in the building. Welcome back, sir.
How we doing? How we doing, Jonathan? How you doing, Miss Tree? Hello,
Hey, Tyrone.
hello, everybody watching and listening. Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Vincent Turner on Facebook, he jumped in and said the Hawks' next coach should be Mark Jackson.
Oh, I love that, Vincent Turner. Yes,
Big
perfect.
shout out to
Mark
Mr. Turner. He
Jackson
would
would
be
be
a
perfect.
very good fit. We saw what he was able to do with Golden State to get them set up to make their spectacular run. So kudos to Mr.
Yeah.
Turner. Mark Jackson, the next coach. The question is, can Mark Jackson get along with the owners? I know Tony Russell is a kind of I don't say mild man. I don't know him that well. He's like a low key guy, but you don't get to that position without having an ego. And maybe Mark has learned that you can't necessarily confront the owner too strong. Got to kind of just find your way around that. But Vincent Turner once again says on Facebook, Mark Jackson, the next coach. Tyrone, you think Mark Jackson will be a good fit here for Atlanta?
I'll tell you what. Whoever is the coach, you first got to understand who your star players are. All right. And we all know we live in a league, in a world where those who do the most expect to be treated differently. I don't care what people say. All right. It is what it is. So, what I mean by that, you got to know who your star players are. We look at the league, just look at the NBA and just go through the years. Players, your star players, have gotten coaches fired, man, because they didn't like what they.
Yep,
You
that's
gotta
right.
get in
We've
that.
seen that on numerous times.
Yeah. So, you got to know whoever they bring in. You can't come in here expecting I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Yes, you're going to do what you're going to do, but you better make sure you feed the face of the organization. And here in Atlanta, Trae Young is that face. And I think back to players who got their coaches fired. I did a little bit of research. We go way back into the day, right? Magic Johnson. He was big name, household name, and I think the Lakers at the time had Paul Westhead, and Magic didn't agree the way that Westhead was taking the offense. And hey, went up talk to management. Next thing you know, Westhead gone, Jack. All right, and you could just go Darren Williams, Avery Johnson. They had a situation. DeMarcus Cousins and Paul Westphal. People. So again, whoever the coach is, people. All right. You could even go up to today, talk about Durant. All right. Again, if you whoever they bring in, you better make sure you build your offense around your star players. If not, your star players are going to start complaining. They're going to go to the front office, and front office realize that they make money by putting people in those seats. And I'll close with this. The great late Al Davis said this. He says, you can get a head coach, but it's hard to find star players. All right. So whoever they get, you better recognize your star players.
There you go. Ms. Turner wanted to also get a clarity. He said, well, Nia Long has moved on. She's now dating Marion. So that saga obviously is closed. Yeah, that's what people give me news from all over the place. So, huh?
Okay.
Well,
Nothing.
hey, man, there's all right to be a cougar, right?
Oh, I don't care about age. That's not what I was talking about. But yeah,
Okay.
I didn't say
Is he a
anything.
bad man? Or I don't know anything about him. I just seen him on TV a couple of times. Looked like a nice young fellow.
I don't know him.
Anyway, how do I know? I don't get involved in it. I don't know. But anyway, that's the breaking news. Coach Nate is gone. Hawks looking to try to catch lightning in the bottle again. 23 games left. And like I mentioned earlier, if they go 16-7, I think they can at least get in that 6th spot. And they can make some noise. We discussed earlier, this is a good team. They have some great not great, but they have some very good young players. And I think if they can get to an up-tempo game, push the ball, play over the rim, you got guys that can jump out of the ceiling. Let them do that. Let them do that. Let guys like Jalen Johnson, let him play over the rim. Get some fast breaks going. Let Trae kind of get some motion going. Okay. You have another guy as a point guard. So what Trae should be doing is moving without the ball. Wear these guys out. That's if you look at the great shooters, a lot of these great shooters, what they do, the great 3-point shooters, they shoot, catch and shoot. Now, I don't know if that's Trae's game or not, but that's how these guys get a lot of open looks. That's how these guys get good looks. They run through these picks and screens. You got a defender crashing and getting bumped all over the place. And next thing you know, you got a guy open for a corner 3. And I would think that's a much better look than having guys draped over you or you getting the ball, dribble, and getting a double team. So you hopefully they'll kind of change up their offense a little bit, find a way to Trae to get free and turn them loose. And if they do that, I'm just saying the Hawks might have some before the end of the day. So we shall see. It's going to be very, very interesting. Speaking of NBA, another breaking news. Huge trade involving a future Hall of Famer. Russell Westbrook now finds himself on the Los Angeles Clippers. He's there rejoining Paul George, a guy he played with for a while at OKC, and a guy who's one of the best players in the league, Melo low-key this year. So it should be very, very interesting with that team. What do you think about the Clippers' chances now that they have Paul George, they have Westbrook, and they have why is my brain locking up? The third player, the big 3, the real killer. God dang. Help me out, guys. Why is my drawing a blank? The real star of the Clippers. Why can't I think of his name right now? Okay. Hit the big
Oh, I know he's
three-pointer a
talking
few years.
about. I see his face with the braids.
Devin
Right. Who?
Devin Booker,
No, he's Phoenix.
Phoenix
Yep.
Suns. Oh, okay.
I know who you're talking about. I see his
Right.
face. Kawhi
This is
Leonard.
terrible. That's it. Kawhi Leonard. There we go. Pull up.
Okay. Yeah,
Yep.
I can see his
Yeah.
face.
So, do you think this team now? Again, the West is really rocking. I mean, you look at these teams. Like, look at the Mavs. They got Kyrie, and they got Doncic. You look at the Clippers now. They got their own quote unquote big three. The Westbrook's a little long in the tooth, but you got him. You got Paul George. You got Kawhi Leonard. I mean, the West looks like it's on and popping. A lot of stuff going on now. Timberwolves get a guy in D'Angelo Russell, great point guard. A guy's been kind of really underused. He bounced around a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it looks like the West is really gearing up for a big time run. Of those
Yeah.
teams I mentioned, who do you think is going to be kind of the favorite to come out of the West? Think it's going to be Phoenix?
Phoenix.
Now they have KD,
I
Clippers.
say Phoenix because of KD.
Okay. What do you think, Tyrone?
You know what?
Coming out of the West,
unless they play with chemistry, it don't really matter who you got on your team. At the end of the day, whoever can gel the fastest, whoever can get in a situation where, you know what, it's not about me. It's not about me. Now, I get it, Durant, going to the Suns. So, again, I'm pretty sure he sat down with the leaders of that team, and they've kind of expressed to him, yeah, we're glad you're here. But also, hopefully, they've said to him, this is the way we run things. Now, again, myself being a professional athlete, I know that's one thing that I encountered, not individually, but you can just hear the atmosphere in the locker room. You're a new guy here. We appreciate
temperature
it.
change.
Well, it's not really a temperature change. It's just they're letting you know, okay, this is our expectation. All right. And if you are a guy who is coming into a system and that's what you already believe, it is just a handshake and, hey, are the person where the light has to be on you and all that, and you come into a team or a setting, then, hey, you know what? We appreciate you here, but understand now we play as a team. All right. So that's the first thing you have to get set in stone. So whichever team can gel the quickest, then that's a team that if they can gel at the right time, they're going to, take off and hopefully have opportunity to win the championship. So that's my thoughts.
Do you think Golden State still got a legitimate shot to get out of the West?
Yes.
Or there's just too many injuries, too much stuff going on?
They have a lot of injuries, but they're still championship caliber. So I'm thinking, I'm definitely not counting them out.
No doubt. Let's go ahead to social media here. Let's take a peek. I know my glasses, are they gone? Mr. Turner says, oh, he's still talking about, okay, bro, we unpassed Omarion, bro. We know, I know he's a singer. I got you, bro. We trying to get in with the what's happening here with the NBA. So it's, again, it should be very, very interesting. A lot of trades. Hawks kind of just brought in one guy, Sadiq, I think Sadiq Bey, I think it is. So we'll see. He's a good three-point shooter. Right. So from your boys, he's a good three-point shooter. So we'll see what's going to happen here. New coach. Hopefully, again, if they open it up, like I said, fast break offense, play more above the rim, move the ball a lot more. We've seen when the Hawks play that way, they can win games. And they have been a very formidable opponent when they do that. So hopefully, again, this Trey will be happy now that Coach Nate won't be ragging them about, wanting to play, not wanting to play with injuries, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, they can get to the next level. But it's going to be interesting. They got 23 games to turn it around. And like you said, it's not impossible. 16-7, that should get them into a sixth spot. Depending on what happens, it could even get into a fifth spot, because the East is a little shaky right now. So, again, we shall see what will happen with the Atlanta Hawks if they will be able to pull it out of the hat. One last thing I want to ask you guys about. I'm going to go back to the NBA All-Star Game. What did you think about the dunk contest? Tyrone, did you get a chance to watch it at all?
No, I didn't. Really didn't watch it. To me, to be honest with you, it used to be a time when, I guess you could say I'm kind of like old school, middle school, and new school. I'm like, to me, it just don't have a feel. People probably still just like the Super Bowl week. Everybody go out for the festivities, and that's probably the most enjoyable part of it. To me, used to be in the NBA All-Star, like you said, the slam dunk contest. Just seeing these guys really just athletic ability. Now, some of the skits that they putting together, that's cool and all that. But some of the main stars that you would want to see in the dunk contest, you don't see them. You see guys, you're like, okay, who is that? Who is that? But back in the day, I'm like, guys, Dominique, here in Atlanta, Dominique, you knew Dominique was gonna be in it. You knew, Michael actually was in it. Sean Kemp, those guys that you really knew were like, you saw them on the court, every day, every game. You were looking forward to seeing them display their athletic ability during the All-Star game. So now, the only pure thing about the All-Star game that's still pure is probably the three-point shot, the three-point. I'm like, that's just pure shooting, but I still probably enjoy that more than just the actual dunking.
I love seeing the rising stars too.
Have their different opinions.
Yeah, Rising Stars, that game is normally pretty good because, again, the guys are playing with a little bit more intensity. I mentioned that before he came on, Tyrone. I'm like you, I'm kind of an old school guy. And what made it worse is that they had popped up a couple of clips of some legendary All-Star games. They had one where it came down the wire where Kobe was going back and forth with AI, and it just was more must-see basketball. Now, I will say something interesting did happen in the dunk contest. We had some semi-history made. It was the second time, only just a second time, that a person who was not African-American won the dunk contest. What the NBA decided to do, Tyrone, to try to create some more entertainment, evidently nobody was really signing up for the dunk contest, so they went to the G League and brought in a young man named Mac McClung. Now, if you guys want to look that up, McClung has been an internet sensation. He comes out of Iowa. Kind of reminds everybody like Larry Bird, came out of Podunk, Iowa, and this guy balled like a brother. Mad hops. Matter of fact, he's I think only the second guy since Spud Webb that was 6'2" or smaller to get a 50 in the dunk contest. Electrified the crowd, had guys on their feet, did a 540 dunk, jumped up and did some of the stuff, grabbing the ball from a guy on top of his head, and then rocked the cradle and dunk. So McClung put on a show, but interestingly enough, Philadelphia had to sign him to a last-minute 10-day contract so he could actually say he was an NBA player because he was actually from the G League. So, but big shout out to him. Second white guy to win the NBA dunk contest since the son of the legendary Rick Barry, Brent Barry, won it in 1996, which I forgot all about. So we saw a little history being made in the dunk contest. I don't know where this young man is going to be able to go from here. Huh?
He did some
watch the clip.
He
had some nice dunks.
Something about when you said, ball like a brother, I'm like, that's the stigma that people love to, I guess I'm trying to say people think that it's only certain nationalities or ethnicities that can do certain things. You know what? If you give anybody an opportunity to work on their skills, anybody can do it. But because you see more blacks in NBA, more blacks in football, like for example, playing corner. I remember Jason Sehorn. Everybody big on Jason Sehorn. Oh, look at him, he out there balling. Man, you ask some of the other guys, they're like, man, Jason Sehorn, blah, whatever they're going to say. So at the end of the day, when it's the same thing. When you see somebody who basically is not, if that sport is dominated by a certain particular ethnic group, and then somebody comes in and they do very well, then all of a sudden everybody like, whoa, blown away. I'm not really blown away because the reason why I'm not blown away, I feel like we all have the same ability. So it's all about training. It's all about the environment that you put yourself in. And the one thing I do know about even working out, okay, if you want to get a bigger muscle, the key is to put more stress on that muscle. You put more stress on that muscle has to adapt by recruiting more muscle fiber. The bigger the muscle, the more powerful the muscle, just like an engine in a car. So all these people say, well, you know what, that person is gifted. We all got muscles and tissues and ligaments in our body. It's all about how you train it. So, you know what, kudos to him. But you know what, that, ball like a brother, I'm like, everybody, you give anybody an opportunity. It's just like I said, most of the time you don't see a lot of that group in that particular sport. So everybody's like, whoa, but man, anybody can do it. And that could be a whole different story for a whole different topic. But I just heard you say that. I'm like, he just went out there and took advantage of skills that he probably saw on TV and went out there in the backyard and worked on. And And now he had an opportunity to showcase it, and boom, there you go. So he worked on it.
Well, there's some truth to that. He did in his all of his films that you see online and YouTube cuts. I mean, he said he tried to model his game after Allen Iverson. Matter of fact, those two met up. He even went to Georgetown initially, just like AI, to try to follow in his mentor, or I should say, his hero's footsteps. I ended up transferring out, going to Texas Tech. I think in his senior year, averaged about 17 or 18 points a game. So, yeah, no, it's just, and what I meant by that is, just kind of phraseology, because as you know, they had a movie, White Man Can't Jump, but evidently Mr. McClung was like, well, yes, we can. So we can jump. So we good. So that was just interesting. It was just an interesting sidelight to the game, especially with being Black History Month. It was just an interesting sidebar to see him brought in and for him to do well. Like he said, hey man, this is nothing new for me. He been balling like that. It's like, hey, guys been looking at him, and like I said, he had been on social media for a while. So you got a big kudo from Mr. Turner. He said, good information by Mr. Poole, very impressive and well said. And he said about the dunk of the NBA dunk contest. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's an entertainment business, and they knew that because this guy was considered an anomaly, a lot of people were going to watch this to see what he could and could not do. And I think many people were, in fact, taken aback because, like you mentioned, you don't see that too often. You do see white players in the NBA, but you don't see too many playing like that. And that's kind of what I meant by playing like a brother. So, oh, wait a minute. We got to take a little break, but we'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Thank you very much. We'll be back.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice. Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net.
Welcome back, guys, to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host and minister, Jonathan Simmons. Right next to me is the lovely Miss Tree Dolman, and right beneath the both of us is the champion, Tyrone Poole. Well, we had some more history made over this weekend at the Daytona 500. Brad Daugherty, former North Carolina star, former Cleveland Cavalier star in the NBA, and former NASCAR commentator, became the first principal owner of African-American descent to win the Daytona 500. And his partner in crime on that same ownership team, Miss Jody Bleschlik, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, became the second woman owner behind Mrs. Earnhardt to be out there. So big shout out to NASCAR, cool stuff going on. Do you guys think that we'll start to see more people getting involved at the ownership level and more importantly at the driver level as these kind of landmarks are made across NASCAR?
More people or more Black people?
Yeah, more people of color. Yeah, I think women.
Okay. Yes, I think representation matters. So when you see other people of your race doing things, a lot of people are more inclined to do it as well. So I think yes.
Tyrone, what do you think? You think we'll see more?
I agree with that as well. What we are beginning to see, we're beginning to see opportunities open up. Whereas before, in the past, there was a certain group that just said this is the way it's going to be and this is how it's going to be, and that's how it was. I know we all believe in a God here, and that was a time in the past when only men were allowed to go and preach the gospel. But now you got women. So at the end of the day, you take NASCAR, you take the church, or you take the XFL. Look at Dwayne, The Rock, and Danny Garcia. Okay, she's a female owner. So even though she's an XFL, so she's an owner of a league. So I think what is happening, you're beginning to see that wall of keeping you out beginning to crumble. And as long as we gel together, band together, and continue to push the right efforts and, elect the right people, then I think we'll begin to see the playing field kind of, I'm not going to say it will ever level, but I think you'll see it rise a little bit more to where you don't have one side higher, greater than the other. But no, I definitely, NASCAR, it's going to encourage people to come out and just all sports, all life, period. You're going to see people get an opportunity.
Yeah, to NASCAR's credit, we talked about it here on the show, and we've even done some shows on this, TV shows on it. Yeah, they've done a real big push to kind of diversify all aspects, whether it be ownership, whether it be drivers, whether it be technicians and engineers. And certainly we've seen it. They did an outreach with the NFL, brought guys in to be on the pit crews. And so, yeah, well, last time I went to the race here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, yeah, you saw a lot more brown people definitely involved. The next step is to get more drivers, because right now we only just have one Bubba Wallace. And so I'm sure you're going to see more guys trying to get involved at the driver level. I know NASCAR has an outreach there too. But yeah, it's just good stuff, man, to see, like you said, people of all races, see more women, just getting involved in the sport. And NASCAR is pretty fun. More and more people are starting to see, hey, man, if you include us, and we want to go fast too. So look forward to some more great stuff happening. And speaking of that, NASCAR will be back in Atlanta the weekend, I believe, of March the 17th. So look forward to us bringing our good buddy in, Mr. Tyler Head, to talk to us about what's going on in NASCAR. And hopefully all of us can get a chance to peek at NASCAR up close and personal, because yeah, it's definitely great stuff to see. And not just the regular NASCAR racing, but they also have a truck race as well. They do. So yeah, man, it's definitely good fun at the Speedway. So hopefully we all can kind of get out there and at least get a little bit of peek of NASCAR or the NASCAR Truck Series for sure. But yep, good stuff as history was made in NASCAR. Now let's take a little shift here let me go back to my program here. NFL. Just come off the Super Bowl. Obviously a lot of stuff going on. One of the biggest things is that we saw all these assistant coaches from both teams kind of making moves. What do you guys think about Eric Bieniemy, a guy who's been kind of slated as, potential head coaching candidate, leaving Kansas City to be the OC for Washington? Tree, you think that's a good move for him to help his career? What are your thoughts about him leaving KC and going to the Washington Commanders?
I saw that move, and I would have to say it's a good move for him, because that's what he chose to do, and that's what he feels is best for him, and he knows his situation. So I would have to agree with his choice, and he knows why he did it. But yeah, I saw that, and I was a little shocked, but I think I know that I'm happy for him. But I think that it is a step in the direction that he has for his goals and his path and coaching. So kudos to him.
Tyrone, your thoughts? You think it's a good move for him? It's going to help him career-wise to get to a head coaching spot, or what's your thoughts?
Well, if you're the Washington Commanders, man, any type of good news, you can get at those front doors, man. I don't care if it's somebody who just stole some bubble gum. If their offense is less than what your offense is, you're like, hey, bring them in, man. They can only make it better. But I say it jokingly, but we all know that they're not we all know. Most people probably don't, but I think one of the things that was keeping Eric Bieniemy from actually getting a head coaching job, they were saying that there was some history with him. So once you put somebody as the face of your organization, then you bring along all the other things. Now, that's not to say we all got some type of baggage, okay? We all got junk in the trunk, all right? So, again, that was one talk. And then you listen to LaShawn McCoy. He talked about his couple of years when he was there at Kansas City that, Eric Bieniemy was not really, the guy that we think he was. But then you take Jamar Charles, who was a running back with the Kansas City Chiefs, and both of them played and were coached by Eric Bieniemy. Jamar Charles says differently. So at the end of the day, the bottom line, I'm glad that Eric Bieniemy is getting an opportunity because if it was Andy Reid that was making all the calls, where Eric Bieniemy got an opportunity right now to show that he is the one that was making the shots, or he's just as capable. Because I'm pretty sure there's no one on the Washington Commanders offense presently. I don't know who all he's keeping, but I'm pretty sure there's no one that understands his blocking schemes, the passing schemes, the running schemes. So he's going to teach all those coaches all that stuff. So this is where we're going to see what type of coach he is. And if he can do that, then yes, we all going to be saying, see, I told you, this guy should have had a head coach job years past. But if Eric Bieniemy can't walk in there and get those guys to understand what he's doing and how he wants it done, then hey, people gonna be saying, "See, I told you so." So, but Eric Bieniemy is in control. So he's from up under Andy Reid. All right, just like your kids going to college, they are from up under the parents. Let's see now if you can pay them bills on your own.
Yeah, I think that's what he is. I think he's just trying to silence all the critics, man. All the guys saying, well, he wasn't really calling the plays. Andy Reid did that. And what people are talking about is some of the other assistants that have been promoted to head coaching jobs and other jobs. These guys weren't as experienced either. So I guess he wants to make sure that, okay, the next time it goes around, if I get that opportunity, no one can say I didn't run the ship, that I didn't call the plays. That's all done. And especially if the Commanders can find a way to threaten the Eagles and the Cowboys in the NFC East, yeah, man, he won't even last a year. If the Commodores are able to be a real threat next year in the NFC East, where you got two pretty good teams in Dallas and the Eagles, it'll be a wrap, man. He'll get hired in 1 year. And I think that's what he's gambling on. It's just like a guy, when you bought that free agent year, bro, you gamble on yourself. So that's what he's doing. He's like, look, I'm all in.
I just hope that he realizes, which I'm pretty sure Eric Bieniemy, not only has he been a player, but he's coached on the sidelines, that he does not have a Patrick Mahomes in Washington. So however he comes to Washington, I hope that he call his plays and build his offense according to what he has in Washington. But if he try to come and I'm going to do it like this, because this is the way we did it, you may not have that same pony, that same thoroughbred horse running for you like you had in KC. He had a lot of thoroughbreds in KC.
That's what'll make everything, like I said, cemented. If he can get this team turned around and get them to be not necessarily offensive force, but even if he can improve them to get them scoring 5, 6, 7, 8 more points a game than last year, they'll pick him up right away because it's okay. Well, now the guy's proven he did it without Patrick Mahomes and he improved this offense. So I would not be shocked that if he can get, again, the Commodores in the game competing for the NFC East, then yeah, I think he'll be, if not hired, he'll be a much more serious candidate than before.
Yeah, and
I
even say this, Jonathan. I think if we do not see, I would rather Eric Bieniemy not even utilize a lot of Andy Reid's offense. I would rather for him to, if anything, maybe use because there are some good plays and good formations and things, but this is where he need to put his identity, okay, on what his perspective is as an offensive coordinator. All right. So people, because people still will say, you are the son of whoever. If your dad was great, they're going to say, I don't care how much you do. They're going to say, you are the son. Isn't such and such your dad? So I would rather Eric Bieniemy come in. I know he's going to utilize some of Kansas City. That's where he's been, right? But I would want him to at least revamp some of that offense to where he has his touch on it. So that would really, I think, give him a separation and pull away from the talk about Andy Reid was the one calling all of the plays and everything like that. So I think that'll help him if he could put his own stamp, stay within what he knows, but put his little flavor on the offense.
What do you think? You agree with that? It'd be better for him to go his own thing. You think maybe he should pull a few little nuggets from Andy Reid and toss them in there to the mix since he knows how they work?
It's always better to do your own thing. I think that's why he went, is to do his own thing and improve himself. So, no, I think he should just do him and do what's best for the team. And like Tyrone said, work with what he has. He definitely has to understand that he doesn't have an all-star cast there and just got to work with what he has. But when you look at coaching, that's what really shows if you're a great coach or not. So I think that this will work in his benefit if he can definitely help make a big difference and show his skills and his talents.
Well said. Tree said, "Hey, that's what the road meets the road when you're a coach. Can you make players better?" Well, he does have a guy in Washington that he's kind of like an unsung hero, a guy that grew up right here in Metro Atlanta, played on one of the top high school teams here, Collins Hill, which is Taylor Heineke. We saw him light up the Falcons. Um, the guy's a winner. I mean, he played for winning high school team, played winning college team. So, and he's done well when he's gotten the time with Washington. He's not a runner, but he's at least a mobile quarterback that can kind of move around, extend plays, as we saw him do against the Atlanta and a couple other teams last year. So he's got a little bit of clay to work with. And I guess what you two guys said is going to be the key. Can he take that and mold it into something that can really be a good offense? So we're going to find out, but definitely kudos to him. Congratulations. Having that OC, he's the real OC now. Nobody can't say he's going to be calling all the plays himself, because Ron Rivera don't want no part of that. He's a defensive guy. He's like, nope, it's your thing, bro. So
but think about Arthur Smith. Think about Arthur Smith. Same thing. He was OC, and then he came to Atlanta. What did he want to do? He wanted to build that offense like he had in Tennessee. Okay, but the thing is, he didn't have them thoroughbreds. He didn't have them Derrick Henry in the backfield. All right, but that's what I'm pretty sure. If you sit and you ask Arthur Smith, the head coach of the Falcons, what is your philosophy? We're gonna pound the ball. Just didn't have nobody to pound it with. But that's who he is, and that's what I'm hoping that Eric Bieniemy, he says, you know what, we're gonna play like what I know, but I'm gonna put my flavor on it. So it's separate, because he has to do that. I think he has to do that. If he doesn't, then people still gonna say, "Hey, see, you just like Andy Reid." But at the end of the day, if he produces, that's what people want: production. I don't care if you still look like whoever. If you can produce and win championships, that's what we want.
Well, no doubt, we're gonna find out. Does he have what it takes to do this? Like I said again, I think that he's got a good opportunity in Washington. He got a good coach, good head coach in Ron Rivera, guy, going to play some defense. And like I said, if they can improve that offense by even like a touchdown a game, they're going to be a threat. They're going to be a big threat in that East. So we're going to find out if he can do it. Speaking of find out, guys, how it is when we have this show, we want you guys out there to find out more about how you can find out and watch and follow anybody that's on this show. So as we wrap it up, Mr. Tyrone Poole, the floor is yours.
You know what? I am actually not inventing, but I'm actually taking advantage of something that I have always been doing. When I look at my life, I've always been resilient. Whether it was quitting football in high school and senior year and still getting to the NFL, or if it was playing running back and never played defensive back and only had 4 years to learn the position and still became a team's first ever defensive selection. So, or growing up with poverty. But I've always been resilient. So if anybody out there looking for someone as a keynote speaker and you need to learn how to overcome, how to bounce back when tough times happen, because we live in a world where life will always give you trials, tests, and temptations. And the key to making it across that finish line is how can you bounce back when obstacles and adversity hit you in the face. So if you want to learn how to be resilient yourself, just like I had to be resilient, go to Tyrone.
I think he means Tyrone Poole 38. Yes, sir.
TyronePoole38.com is the website. TyronePoole38.com. Just add a .com to the end of what you see here. But on all social media, it's Tyrone Poole 38. That's what they call branding. So you branded.
There you go.
All right.
Tyrone Poole, we thank you, sir. All right, Tree Dolman, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. You can find me on social media at Purple Diva 13, as well as Ms. America International 2022.
The Queen makes it short and sweet. Everybody, we want to thank you again for watching the broadcast. You can follow me anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports 7 is the show. You can follow me personally at Minister J. Sims. I'm going to remind you here with all this stuff going on today. If you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, I'm going to tell you, please, man, please sure get to know him today. Nobody loves you like Jesus. He died for your sins. And if you believe in him, two wonderful things happen. You become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven, and you become an adoptive child of God with all the rights therein. And when you leave this planet, you go to that happy place called heaven and escape that nasty place called hell. I don't know about you, but like option one instead of option number two. All right, guys, until the next time we see you again, God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, whichever may apply. So long.